It's Podraza. I'm not making any of this up. It is contingent, not contingent. Forget my language, please. I have to get better with that if I can have some time. Did lose spelling in this mess. I'll look up that diet and I'll leave you a message. You're inching too far into the Seventh-day Adventist diet. I would be dead on that diet. I consider it old country. Consider churned ice cream made with fruit in the country. I use unsalted butter all the time, even when I'm cooking. I've taken out salt out of my diet. If I use canned, it is drained. Now, I reduce any salt if there's canned. Sometimes I use soup. I know there's salt in it. I allow for that. Yes, soup is very good with vegetables. In the soup, I always include that. In a casserole, generally vegetable broth, and not otherwise. I have a gravy which takes away the grease of the chicken right now, which I don't want, and it's easy. All right, we've covered that. I dry heat vitamin D, that's good for the bones. How to eliminate it. We've got phosphoricum, whatever it is, natron. That's hanging in there with the natrons. Stephen Cotler would be able to explain that to you. It's out of England, I think, that the derivation is on that. He understands that. I understood part of it. Granted, I have not had any for PhD or psychiatry. I don't have the brain chemistry stuff, and I can't think of it. Somebody's blocking my mind again. These are all the tests I've done in my life on it. Statistics, I would have flunked the course. It is not tangible, and I don't want any experimental psychiatry, I'll tell you. I dry heat vitamin D, it's for the bones. Very cheap, so leave me a voicemail. Okay, well, I do eat chicken and fish when I can afford it. You have to look at that budget. That budget allows me certain issues. On that, I do check the noodles when it's arrived with chickpea, derivative from chickpeas, all of that. Spaghetti, I do like the thick spaghetti around the sauce. But macaroni and things like that, I can work with. I do like cheese, stable in my life. Let's say vegetables, frozen those. I use maple syrup that is sheer maple syrup. No cornstarch in it. But corn syrup, I think, is made from corn. So I've allowed a recipe on that. Usually pecan pie is a luxury. I get a 50-cent one at the Walmart, and it cures that craving, and they're very good. Lean meats, I do use lean meat. Beef is a necessity in my diet. That is too much Seventh-day Adventist on chicken and fish only. I believe in it. I can't always afford it. That's a very fine recipes. But that vegetable recipes loaded with it, salads, pumpkin pancakes, even maple homemade pancake batter. Now, a pizza I don't see as wrong if you use a lot of vegetables and stuff on occasion. Salads, I love them. But too much roughage causes me a problem rectally. And I have to stay off with that with the buttermilk and the cream base. You have not stopped that whole milk, has to be done. That takes care of the vitamin D element of the extra. I cannot strip the whole milk part out of that. That worked with getting rid of vitamin D. Now, bread is a staple of life. And I'm going to say in a Dad's table, Grandpa's, it was 3 meals a day. Grandma made bread first thing in the morning. Farm country, bread was allowed. Whole grains is very healthy, and I try to handle that as much as I can. Even potato bread, I find that to stay pretty well. Now, I do have soup, and I require grilled cheese or something, or a cheese sandwich. When I'm sick, I have to go to bagels and cheese, and I try to eliminate extra bread. In the night, I have to sop up some acid sometimes, so a piece of an end piece of a long, thin bread loaf, I am still finding a necessity. It takes care of the acids. I don't have ulcers, and that is good. Now, whole grains, definitively. I found I want to make a chicken again, and I have a gravy that uses bouillon, and I agree with it. It's KFC's gravy. Right now, Dad used to make it from scratch and enjoyed it. Cooked the turkey all night, basted it. But I'm trying to keep with that. I use cornbread, flour, rice. I have excellent desserts that I work with in lieu of the ice cream on and off. But if I had an ice cream churner, I'd make my own. But some of them I like. I had coffee. I bought that recently. Cost me a little pistachio coffee. I find that delicious. I like pistachio ice cream. My father did. Maple walnut was his choice. Lemon meringue pie. Those were his things, sugar in his coffee. He was not a major sweet eater, but bread 3 times a day. For his heart, he lowered it to cornflakes, peaches in it, generally, to take away some of the extra eggs for his heart near the end. He didn't die of a poor diet. And, let's see, I would work it that way. And I do require some chocolate. It's been that way in my life. That is very good for me. I have found peppermint chocolate herbal tea. I'm able to tolerate that again. Raspberry tea, some sugar in it. There are different kinds. I have kept this to that. Remember the budget. You cannot work with that budget in any other way than I'm operating it. I said I stripped the salt. I use dash seasonings. Vinegar, cider vinegar is not easy for me. I use balsamic cider. It's too much acid in that. Applesauce is cheap and I enjoy it. Pear, occasionally cherry. I have to add a little sugar in that when it's unsweetened. I make my own applesauce when I can afford it, and I use maple syrup in that. That's a delightful homemade apple on that. I think I've addressed all of this. Now, I can't think of what I can say otherwise on this. Some recipes I've reduced even the sugar in it to see if I can make it palatable that way. There's a pumpkin pudding out and French vanilla. I will use that, throw pecans in it with a graham cracker crust. That works, will work all the time. Even that works in a pie. It keeps the substance of it. Sometimes heavy cream I use to thicken it. I use Wonder Flour. And I do keep that be. I have to look up that diet situation that I tried. South Beach and Atkins are the closest to this. Seventh-day Adventist, you're going to be out the B vitamins and the B12 will keel over from it mentally and emotionally, and I feel that's correct. I think we're in agreement thus far on this, but I would make some old country sometimes makes their own butter, and they used to skim the cream off the top and beat it, I think, in those days. I know Grandpa had a smokehouse. He did cut his own meat, and he did smoke it, and they served it on the table. Thompson Bissons in Thompson, Maine, as that Borks has some good meat also. And I do believe in that. Some people can't eat steak. I can't afford it. I do enjoy a good steak, charcoal, not gas stove. I do believe in that. I don't believe it's going to kill you on it. Fish, I can't clean it. I couldn't be able to watch it. Got the eyes off. I'm not somebody who kill something, but I believe that meat is a necessity for your life. I do believe in that. And beef is very good for me. Hot dogs, only beef hot dogs. I don't want any fillers in it right now. Sausage I can't touch with a 10-foot pole. Dad used to make homemade kielbasa and enjoyed it. He ate liver and onions on occasion. He grew up also, we went to the Gaslight in Portland. He had frog's legs once. We had a laugh. I don't want to eat frog's legs, Dad. He said it tastes just like chicken. And he used to eat pig's knuckles. Grandma had to have been a gourmet cook on that farm somehow from way back. I couldn't touch that stuff, but he enjoyed it on occasion. There was a restaurant in Connecticut called the Podraza. We used to go down to that. Now, the Gaslight at Parker Reedy's for a good steak and salad. I do enjoy that. Used to go to Bally's for that. Mom and I were able to handle the ice cream. Sweet, she had a high metabolism. Dad took it in the coffee and those ideas. But on the farm, old country, we're talking about vegetables, canning, some freeze. I don't believe, I feel you get freezer burn.